it away.
All right, so I wanted to share the importance of goal setting in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So today, Patrick and I, we spend time with each other on Mondays. It's our date day. But today we decided to do some goal setting or some vision casting. Like we wanted to write down what it is that we wanted to accomplish to like put days to it, put times to it, to
Mm-hmm.
put activities to that time. And so it's not okay. So yeah, writing down your dreams and writing down your goals, or as one of our coaches say, your objectives, like what outcomes that you want to see in your
Mm-hmm.
marriage and in your life,
Mm-hmm.
write those down.
If you believe your marriage is in need of coaching, Shamika and I are certified marriage and life coaches. Just log into our website, www.hiswifeherhusband.net, to book your discovery call.
Wives, if you are looking for one-on-one coaching, put his wife in the notes section.
Husbands, if you are looking for one on one coaching, put her husband in the notes section.
Husbands and wives, if you are looking for marriage coaching as a couple, put his wife, her husband in the notes section.
Remember, our purpose is to help you build
And sustain your marriage.
from a biblical perspective.
So go on over to www.hiswifeherhusband.net to schedule your discovery call today. But it's not enough just to put them on paper. You have to start putting them, assigning them the time that you want to get it done,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I also want to kind of tell on myself. But this morning in my prayer time, I was just reflecting on it. You know how you had a little thoughts, man, it's not enough time in the day. And a lot of times we say these things, but we don't think about basically you telling the Lord that He didn't know how much time to give you in a day. He gave us the a right amount of hours to get done. It's for us to manage our time well. And so, if he has given us much, then that means that some things may not require 60 minutes. It may require 45 minutes. It may
Mm-hmm.
require 30 minutes. Because when we are given responsibilities, that's not to the neglect of another. We have to do that and do this and do this and. And so we still have to get the rest. We still have to make time to spend time with him and with our spouse and our family. And depending on the ages of your children or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you still have to have your employment or whatever. You have to have all the things. That's still not for you to neglect doing and managing your time well. So anyway, it may require you putting outcomes down that you desire as a couple,
Mm-hmm.
and also, it's wise to even write down your own goals,
Mm-hmm.
like your individual heart desires, and then you work it out, or you how can I say, you blend it in, right? You blend in your role as husband, wife, as individual into this marriage institution.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We're working through it. We're figuring it out. How I don't tell you you can't do that. It's like, how can I support you in that and not neglect what it is that I desire to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so happen now it makes it a whole lot easier when when you and your spouse come together on one accord to accomplish a thing.
Right, but and that takes great communication, as well as how can, even if that's the case, it's because what you were saying, like, how do I accomplish what I want to accomplish as well without interrupting the marriage? So you're
Correct.
saying, how do I support the person? But the
Mhm.
person who is going after their dream and a goal is, how do I do this without neglecting my marriage and
Yeah.
without neglecting my rest, or my children? So how does that get done? So in other words, she was like, I think it's both.
Mhm.
You write down what outcome, but you focus on, as Myron Golden says, you focus on your inputs.
Mhm.
So we're writing this down, but what's the input that I'm going to focus on more than anything? And if that happens, we're good. But regardless, if that outcome doesn't happen, I'm making sure I'm putting everything in the input
Mhm. for the output.
for the output. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying?
so good. And then something else that I thought about too that come with goal setting is that sacrifice comes with that.
Hmm.
I didn't think about it. I mean, like we know that sacrifice is involved, but when you really stop and think about it, it's like
When you
really
really,
like yeah, like you cannot accomplish like if you go for for one thing, you let go of something else.
hmm
You stop doing that. So
hmm
like yeah, when you go for the goal, know that it may require some adjusting of your time. You may not be able to date as long.
hmm
You may not be able to sit around and just kind of just be que sera with your life. Like
I would say even for us, we're career
mhm.
shifting. In other words, we're putting everything into our coaching business,
Yeah.
his wife or husband coaching business.
Mhm.
That the thing that we're doing now is not going to get as much marketing time or marketing uh, real estate
Focus. Yeah. Mhm.
on our social media platforms. And his wife, her husband, is the thing.
Yeah,
You
that's
know what
the
I'm
baby.
saying?
Yeah, that's the
That's the
baby.
one we're raising up now
Mhm.
to be grown, so that we can do
Mhm.
or put it on cruise control
Mhm.
to possibly create another avenue um, of service to the world.
To
Hmm
one another too.
hmm
Yeah. So yeah. So don't neglect goal setting. Don't neglect getting together with your spouse and dreaming again.
That's good.
Sometimes
That's
in
good.
the day to day life and
Why do
duties,
you? So
we forget.
why do you think we
We
stray
forget.
away from?
Yeah, it's the hustle and flow. It's the hustle and flow of
Hustle and
life, and I say that to say like you basically what you're
hustle and flow.
doing, you working like you're working to survive, and you're just trying to stay alive in the struggle, right? You
Mm-hmm.
just surviving. But then it does come a time again if you don't remember the why you're showing up to work.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I going? You'll find yourself doing it for a dollar and not for the dream, right? You're not doing it because this is the will of God for your life. We just get off. I believe the human heart is so prone to drifting, especially if you don't have it written down and you don't have that map of where you're going, the
Mm-hmm.
destination before you.
Mm-hmm.
Even it says in the scripture that for the joy set before our Lord, He endured the cross. So that struggle had purpose, right? The cross had a reason.
I thought you were gonna go with God telling them don't go to the left or to the right. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? When they're going to do what God says, like it tells them don't drift, because you're using
Hmm.
drift. I was trying to
Hmm.
stay within
It's
drift.
okay.
Don't drift to the
Yes.
left or the right, which means our heart is prone to drifting left and right rather than staying on the course that God has put us on. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah. And so, though that goal setting helps us not to drift,
Mm-hmm.
it gives us a centered focus. It helps us to be able to say, give your attention here. I know it's a lot going on and there's a lot to be done. It's a lot to be said, but this is where you stay right here. It help you to keep course. One of the coaches say, Jim Rohn say, you set the sail, you set it so
Mm-hmm.
that you're not just hoping that you land somewhere. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you set the sail.
I got a question. So, because there are a lot of people who are extremely successful, and they were goal setting,
Hmm.
but they did not have a strong relationship with their spouse or with their children. So my question becomes, can you can I think you can. I don't think anybody's sorry. I don't think anybody has taken the time to find out how do you get both. Or it could it be you may be I'm just throwing some name out, no shade on anybody. You may be Neiman Marcus successful
Hmm.
and not have the relationship, or I can be Target successful and still have the relationship, but there's still a success. So in other words, if I want Neiman Marcus success, I may forfeit my relationship with my wife and my children because I'm going out there, I'm getting it, boom, boom, boom. But if I decide, okay, this is the goal I'm trying to set, how do we get there so the question becomes, I think, what's the book? Rich Dad Poor Dad. I always never say I can't. I always ask, how can I? So here's the goal, baby. I want to set. How can we get there without neglecting one another,
Sacrificing the relationship.
without
Hmm.
neglecting one another, or neglecting our children, or neglecting our health, and then you figure out the types of input to do that. I think if you start there, it becomes better. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
It becomes doable. I
Yeah.
think a lot of times too, especially with and I will be able to tell you real soon. And I will say that we have experienced our level of success, and our children are with us, and we are with each other, right?
Mhm.
So in a way, I say that to say that um, in the midst of you experiencing it, you take them with you. Would you go on this journey with me?
Mhm.
Like, you come in the office, you come in my space, you're always welcome there. It's no compartmentalizing. It's not me going off to work, you know. Now, if they're at school, you learn how to manage their time. I
Mhm.
got 8 hours blocked, undisturbed with family concerns. So
Mhm.
you go all in during your 8 hours, and
Mhm.
then when it's time to come out, you come out. But let's say you're building, because what I am learning is during the building process, it requires more energy, more effort. You need synergy, you need encouragement, you need your why to be present a lot of times.
Mhm.
So if you're needing 10 hours versus the 8, then within that 2, you maximize that, you welcome them into, you get it 2 hours. Yeah, okay. But you welcome them into your space as you're continuing to build.
I still didn't get it. I was trying. Go ahead.
That's funny. Okay, so I was just, because it was 2 hours, and I said welcome them into your two extra hours.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cheesy,
Okay.
but anyway. Anyway, so sometimes I think that when you're building success, building, or you're working things out, you may have to invite them in. And if they say, "I don't want to be here," would you back off again? Will you back
That's
off the business? Like, if you've given the 8 hours and they say, "I don't want to be here. I don't want to come to work with you," the child,
mhm.
you pick them up from school. Are you
Okay.
with me?
Yeah, I'm with you now.
And they don't like it there,
Okay.
right? Then you may have to adjust your time so that you don't neglect the most important.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that acquiring finances is not important, but it's not most important. Then what's coming to my mind is that sometimes, we living in. I'm coming from a point of flexibility,
Mhm.
where I can say, well, I can cut it off, right? But somebody may be
Yeah, because
working a
some people
career
they
that they
can't do
can't
that.
cut it off. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
then you have to, again, that goes back to great communication that
Mhm.
says, hey, even though like we're about to create this office space at the house, and it's when we are here, it becomes easier to do that if on the front end you spend the time you're supposed to spend with your loved ones.
Yeah. Cause I was.
So
Oh yeah.
that
Okay.
when you create this separate space or this time of of uninterrupted time,
Mhm.
they are they're more flexible or understanding that mom and dad need this time because they're building a business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, say what you want. I don't know if y'all whether I'm independent, but I think I saw a documentary one time of Donald Trump that he did not when they were growing up because this is so good. He did not he did not restrain his children from coming into the meetings. Like if he was doing a deal, they could come in. Now they couldn't disrupt, but they could come in
And listen
and
and
listen
be in
as
this
he
word. Yeah.
create this deal. Now here's what happens with that. They get to hear these words over and over again that they're growing up learning the language of finances or business deals and the negotiation and things of that nature. You feel what I'm saying? I was going there for a reason. I
So you
forgot.
don't have to leave them out.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Go ahead.
So you don't have to leave your family out. And also too, I think that we. Okay. So now, yeah. Anyway, I think that sometimes as parents, we feel like the children are going to be children forever. And we don't want to sacrifice on the front end so that we can have the time on the back end. The truth of the matter is they are going to be adults at some point. But you don't want to be found missing out on the childhood years that won't always be.
Mhm.
So if you can, make sure that you make time and that you don't sacrifice the children and you don't sacrifice your spouse so that when success shows up in your life, you will have someone to share it with. We've heard too many stories of people coming to the end of their days and they would exchange those times that they missed for any amount of dollars. They would
Right.
exchange it in a heartbeat.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I just
And
want to share that.
that's good. I'm gonna leave on this note. On this note, even if you're trying to build a church, all right. If you're trying to build a church or you're trying to grow a church, the church is not your spouse. Um, the church belongs to Christ. So even neglecting your family, trying to grow this church, my question would be, what's your motive in the first place? And I'm not saying you don't want a large congregation. You can probably do more, but try to figure out like what's the motive for the strong desire that you would neglect your family in the process. Because as Shamika was saying, I've heard stories of pastors who have done the job of growing this large church, and yet they don't have a relationship with their parents. I mean, they don't have a relationship with their wife. Marriages are ending in divorce. The children growing up hating God because God took their dad away from them, and
Or their
so things of
mom.
that
Yeah.
nature, or their mom and stuff like that. So
Wait, you can't wait. So wait, hold on,
I want
hold
to
on,
make
hold
sure.
on, hold on. Huh?
Go ahead. I don't want the phone to
Oh, to cut off.
yeah.
Okay. So one of the things, like, as I keep talking, I would encourage you to ask the Lord to put His finger on the desires of your heart,
What does that
and
mean?
I'm giving
Okay.
so that whatever desire it is, the pureness of God will remove any motive, any impurity that could be there, because it could be a good desire, but it's not right for you to do that. Meaning the Lord is the Lord of the church. He may have asked you to steward that, but because you're coming from a place of impureness or you're trying to make a name for yourself, like he will expose whatever that thing is that's in your heart that shouldn't be there. That's the driving force, other than this is what I will have for you to do.
And that's putting his
Hmm.
finger on your desire is discovering
Your real
your
reason
real
why.
reason. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I just I want to encourage you to ask the Lord to purify your heart, so that your motives can be pure, and continue to dig in and ask why. Keep asking why. Keep asking why. Keep asking why. Because then you'll get to the bedrock of the reason why,
Hmm.
and then you will know whether He is asking you to lay that on the altar, let that burn,
Mm-hmm.
let that die, right? Or He'll see what your real motive is. If it's really for Him, then you'll trust Him to bring that thing back up. He gonna
Mm-hmm.
take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that that's it. It was something else that you said, but I can't remember. But be encouraged that the Lord has called us to trust Him and to walk with Him, and yeah,
So if you found value in this video, make sure you share the video. Make sure if you have not already subscribed, over 50% of you all who are watching who have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell notification so that when we go live and drop new videos, you'll be the first one to get that. Make a comment. Let us know what was uh, what was inspiring about the video, what was convicting about today's podcast, what was encouraging about the podcast. Let us know in the comment section, and don't forget about the workshop that we will be having. Make sure you click the link to secure your spot today.
and we'll see you next week.
Amen. All right, take care.